What a wonderful introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, my name is Alderman Gary Millar. I'm no longer a Mr. An alderman is a former politician who has retired from politics to concentrate on philanthropy, charity work, writing books, and international relationships. And this is what we're going to talk about this morning for about 15 minutes. I would like some questions. I want some intervention. You help me, I will help you. I'm going to talk about the soft power of international relations. We can have all the evidence, all the details, but actually international relations in my world is about who you are meeting, the ability to meet people, the ability to bring back information from overseas, back to places like Liverpool, because sometimes in my previous world, you kind of get criticized for going overseas. People think international travel, when I was a politician, is about having a jolly. I wish. I once went to Beijing and Shanghai leading a delegation, and the University of Liverpool grabbed hold of me and said, would you speak at a conference full of agencies that bring students to universities all over the UK? Of course I will. And it was the 10th anniversary of Kaplan International Pathways being in Liverpool. And I said, of course, but it meant I didn't get, and the only time in 11 years, didn't get to go to the Great Wall of China, to go to the Film Palace. Instead, I stood in a room like this, talking to 200 agents who were bringing students to Liverpool. Now that's really important, because I didn't know, and you should never talk about this to students and their families, because they're not money-making machines, but every time an international student comes to Liverpool, they will spend approximately 50,000 British pounds a year in places like Liverpool. That's good for our hotels. It's good for our hospitality venues. It's also good for our universities. Not just in fact they are coming to study, but it's great when you bring people together. It's inclusive, it's equitable, it's about diversity, and that is something that international relations should be about, is that ability to go overseas and learn from other people. It's that exploration, because we're not the best, except you're going to learn things that we are good at through my presentation. Now I'm going to use this for the first time and I hope it works. I am the chair and president of the Liverpool-China Partnership. I'm also the president of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association. I'm the former vice mayor or deputy mayor of Liverpool, and as you saw before, Lord Mayor of Liverpool. I've enjoyed my time in Liverpool, which has been 42 years, and I came here to study in Liverpool in 1983, and I am a technologist and entrepreneur. That is my background. Collectively, our partnership at the Liverpool-China Partnership has brought in over 1 billion British pounds into the Liverpool City region economy by going overseas, by working with the University of Liverpool, by working with John Moores University, by working with Liverpool Hope University, and also, and we must not forget them, the not in Liverpool City region, Edge Hill University. We have 4 world-leading universities in different arenas here in the Liverpool City region area, including Edge Hill, which started in Liverpool as well. If you don't know the words Edge Hill, you should, because the world's first commercial railway line went from Liverpool to Manchester in 1830 at Edge Hill, which is where this university started. There are some logos of some of my partners at the Liverpool-China Partnership. I co-founded the Liverpool-China Partnership in 2015 as a legacy statement of the International Business Festival, which was the United Kingdom government's international business festival. There were three: 2014, 2016 and 2018. I led all three of those with my colleagues, but from that came the Liverpool-China Partnership, because we recognised that we could do more trade and more research and more work with our friends in China, but also Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, Africa, the United States, Ireland, Europe as well. But in this particular conversation is about China. The work that I've been doing with our partners, with our universities, with our hospitals, with our businesses, some of those we call SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises, is in the areas of trade and investment, academia and research, cultural exchange, and sports cooperation. Now, Mark, our friend here, Mark, hello, Mark is waving at us. Mark tells me he's a Blue. He supports Everton Football Club. But Liverpool, as you know, has one of the best teams in the world called Liverpool Football Club. Last year they won Champions League.
Go, Gary.
They might not be doing as well this year, but they could come back. But Everton have the newest stadium in the United Kingdom in the regenerated Docklands area. Actually, regenerated. You know, our exploration overseas and our international relations is to show other people that Liverpool is actually good at certain things, and we have our docks, which used to be the best in the world, and then didn't catch on to a thing called containers, and sadly lost its way, but it's now in Liverpool next to the Everton ground, or the Hill Dickinson Stadium, has actually now returned back to the fourth largest dock system, logistics and transportation centre in the United Kingdom, and the biggest on the west coast of the United Kingdom, facing the transatlantic, where Panamax, the larger container ships, are now able to come into Liverpool, into what they call Liverpool 2, which is the new system of the deep water container terminal that's been specially created using British research and interest, but Chinese technology from ZPMC, which is almost £1 billion worth of investment, where new heavy lifting equipment has come all the way from Shanghai into Liverpool to actually kind of recreate the prowess, the importance that our port system had many, many years ago, 100 years ago, and it's returning. So we're getting ships coming into Liverpool with 22,000 containers on those ships. Sadly, our road system hasn't caught up with that, and we often have gridlock in the area around the port. It's not very good for the environment, but then they are expanding the use of our rail system out of the docks, and hopefully it will get better. And also, strangely, going back to the old days, using the Manchester Ship Canal to get containers to Salford and towards the Manchester area of our country, to then take it to our airlines and to our motorways to be a centralised kind of system, which actually is helping Liverpool with our free port system, which if you are listening from our friends overseas, you can now assemble goods from Latvia, from Germany, from Italy, from Europe. You can assemble those in the Liverpool city region, and strangely it is called the Liverpool Free Port, but it also includes Manchester, Salford area as well. But you can bring goods now to Liverpool area, assemble them, manufacture them, and you're incentivized to do so by reduced taxes, reduced tariffs, by doing that in the Liverpool city region, and then sending them straight out to Ireland, to the United States, etc., and reduce taxes. No, I'm talking about things, I'm going to move on, I'm talking about things that are really quite important about Liverpool, but I was asked to talk about China. But when you go to China, or Indonesia, or Africa, or the UAE, or Europe, Ireland, United States, they don't know these things. And actually, it is about having the ability to go overseas to any country and tell them, what are your number ones? What are you good at doing in your region? And not be arrogant enough to think that Liverpool is the centre of the universe, but actually must be working with Manchester, Leeds, Hull, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Birmingham and London, because we're actually a country of almost 70 million people. But when you're in our sister city of Shanghai, which varies in its numbers when you look at Wikipedia or artificial intelligence, it's either 25 million or 32 million people, and we're a country of 70 million. It kind of sees how much smaller we are, except when you go overseas, you discover that Liverpool's brand is one of the top brands in the world because of things like music, football. And actually, when you do it, I know one university in Liverpool did a branding exercise where they tried to find out, where are we in terms of brand? In China, Liverpool was number 4 for the whole world. And they thought, oh, that must be Liverpool University, that must be Liverpool. No, it's Liverpool Football Club that made it, and sorry Mark, it's not Everton, it made Liverpool the 4th best brand as far as the Chinese were concerned in China. And that's amazing, it's wonderful. But I've said on my screen here, we are a sister city of Shanghai. We've been engaging with Shanghai since 1830 when the first Shanghai sailors came to Liverpool, but we didn't start sailing to Shanghai from Liverpool until 1866. And it took us till 1999 to have a formal sister city relationship. And actually, when you're talking about international relationships, use your existing strong links with your sister cities, your twinned cities, because actually that is a launch pad to doing more business, to doing more research, to doing more academic work together. It's really quite powerful because from a government point of view, through the UN, through UNESCO, and through individual governments overseas, the respect for sister city status is way up here. It's very high, and magic seems to be happening. And in Shanghai in particular for Liverpool, but Cologne in Germany, Dublin in Ireland, and often people say Rio de Janeiro, and also we look at things like New York. Well, they're not sister cities, but they are relationships. They are kind of twinned in a way. Jakarta is a kind of twinning, but actually the sister city is Surabaya, and that's our most recent one. And those countries and those cities are waiting for Liverpool to tell its story.
Gary, do you mind if I ask a question about the sister cities?
Yes. I don't mind. Carry on, please.
From your perspective.
Oh, you need a microphone. This is Stuart Maddox, everyone.
Thanks, Gary. With regard to the sister cities that you mentioned, and you're obviously passionate about them because you see the effect that sister city relationship has in your diplomatic trips and the way that you're ambassadorial around Liverpool and the UK. What practical benefits do you see from that sister city relationship, and how could we as a city and other cities that have that relationship leverage that a little more than we do? Because I think for probably most of us sat in the room, just even the notion of a sister city doesn't really sit on our agenda or our radar that much, unless we've got roles that are integral into that.
So I'm thinking about time now. Very quickly, in terms of international relationships in any city where you are a sister city, the local, municipal and provincial governments from those areas will open their doors and welcome you in and make magic happen. And that will be, for example, if we were not a sister city of Shanghai, the University of Liverpool would probably never have created the largest campus in China between a Liverpool or a UK university with now 35,000 students.
With more students in Shanghai than in Liverpool.
Than they are. There's more students in Suzhou next to Shanghai because of the University of Liverpool and Xi'an Jiaitong than there is here in Liverpool at the same university, all studying Liverpool University degrees and masters and PhDs, and it all started with Shanghai and that relationship and the hard work of that university. So when we go to places like Shanghai or to Surabaya, the government says, come on, let's do more. What can we do to help? And so that the magic does happen on a civic level, and then you leave the agencies, the institutions to do the due diligence, the risk assessment, they're kind of working out what economic strategies and academic strategies that they have between them. That's what Sister Cities helps create. Last year, I co-led a delegation where the University of Liverpool signed 5 new MOUs based on joint research, where the John Moores University signed additional MOUs with 3 university partners, where they have now been taking up to 50 students on student mobility and social mobility for students who are being funded through the British Council and others, who are now able to go and explore places like China and Africa and Indonesia and Malaysia. They would never have that opportunity if it hadn't started with the sister city relationships. So a lot more happens with those. And actually in places like China, it happens faster if it's led by a civic leader, a politician, vice mayor to vice mayor, mayor to mayor, district leader to district leader, and then they open the doors to their institutions, their governments and so on. But in China it's unusual that it normally is better led by a politician, because then it's very political and hierarchical, and it's actually really quite appropriate. But it's different to the United States, where a business could lead that and do things faster and better. But in China, it is about civic engagement. And that's where I've learned how to kind of work with governments. In my current position, I'm still seen not as a politician, because we're not a political organisation, but I still open the doors because they respect my former roles as Lord Mayor and Vice Mayor, and now Chair and President of the China Partnership. I am going to move on. I'm just thinking about your time. Our friends from overseas, this is really quite important. We have 2 international airports within 45 minutes of where we're sitting now. We are 2 hours and 10, 2 hours 20 minutes from London. Although Tony Bradley came from a place called Southport this morning, and it almost took him 2 hours to get here, and it's only 30 minutes away normally. But actually we're 2 hours-ish from London. We're fairly central and very accessible There's no reason why we can't have more visitors from Italy, more visitors from Germany, more visitors from Ethiopia, and more visitors from places like Manchester. We are here by a beautiful river with more monuments, more statues, historic relevance than anywhere in the United Kingdom except London. And I know you heard from Angie Redhead yesterday, and we are the third most visited city in the United Kingdom with 62 million visitors last year. Great for tourism. You're not here long enough. I want you to come back and do more in this wonderful city. A city of culture and sport, the UNESCO City of Music, birthplace of the Beatles, city of education and knowledge, has an innovation ecosystem, and part of your topics for today and yesterday was advanced manufacturing and advanced engineering, and we are a centre of that with the works that our universities are doing, but also institutions and businesses. We're building cars, we're in EV, we're building wind turbines. We're a city of health and life sciences and digital and creative. And I was explaining to our friends from Latvia this morning, just across the road behind me, we're also almost sitting in the coolest place to live and play and invest, called Baltic Triangle, directly behind us. Fastest growing in terms of gaming and digital and creative app developers and architects and bars and restaurants and hotels just over the road here. We're a city of ports and maritime. Ports and maritime, we were the most famous for many years. We lost our way, we are coming back. And our friend Mark can tell us all about logistics and transport. I've already given you some statistics. The biggest on the west coast of the United Kingdom port system, with access to airports, access to trains, access to containers, access to ships and so on, and access to technology and high-skilled, high-paid jobs. And can't forget professional and business services. 75,000 people working in professional and business services in this area, within a mile of this area, and we are still the second largest wealth management centre in the United Kingdom, just after London, because we have some of the oldest investment businesses, Rathbones, Tilneys, former Investec and so on in this area. Money's a big thing in Liverpool, but we don't talk about it enough. I've mentioned the Freeport already. We have the Freeport Innovation Zone, unlocks maximum incentives for investors. And one of our partners, Trinity Logistics, this is the Liverpool-China partnership, is doing a lot of work in China and a lot of work in Liverpool. But I mention them for a reason. They're a partner, but it's a female-led, a women-led business in a man's world where there are people who are all women in this business who are competing and beating the men in their traditional markets. And I think that is wonderful, and I want to see more of that. There's some details. Are we going to be sharing this afterwards, this PDF, this document? So there's some details about our logistics, ports and maritime trade. 48,200 jobs supported in maritime and logistics. It's worth 5 billion British pounds to our local economy GDP-wise. I've mentioned already we're home to two amazing football teams, Liverpool and Everton, and Tony Bradley was about to say Liverpool first team and Liverpool second team. No, there's also Everton, Dr. Bradley. Cavern Club. If you've not been to the Cavern Club, the birthplace of the Beatles, it is worth visiting just to go and feel the vibe. And one day I will get Urs Hamstein, to join me on the stage of the Cavern and do what the Beatles did, and we could sing to an audience, because you can do that on Wednesday afternoons it is a wonderful thing to do, and you're living in a breathing piece of history. It is 70% of the original cavern, despite people saying it's been moved. It is still part of the original cavern, and it's great history and it's great music. And they're one of my partners of the Liverpool-China partnership. And when we go overseas, it's not all about academia. It's not all about life sciences. Actually, there's businesses who want to do operations and licenses over in China, and we introduce those into places like Beijing, Kunming, and Shanghai. This is my almost final screen. I think it's my penultimate screen. Please help Liverpool with its international student recruitment and business development. Help us develop our international strategy. And once the Skillman.eu International Forum ends, please help us build our key partnerships with Liverpool and invite me to come along as the chair and president of the China Partnership, but also the Commonwealth Association. I'd be quite happy to come to Latvia, to come to Italy, to come to Ethiopia, to come to Africa, to come to Germany, to come to Manchester and talk about some of the things that we've spoke about. Because you asked me, Urs, to speak about China, but actually I'm not going to China to talk about China. I'm there to talk about United Kingdom PLC and how we could do more appropriate business together, and that's one of my strengths. And I know that Tony was very kind to me about my entrepreneurial work. I am an entrepreneur, I am a technologist, I used to write software that's used all over the world, but I've retired from that now. I'm now paying it forward. That means I don't want thanks, I don't want applause, but I want you to go ahead and do good things for good people all around the world, and I'll be there to help you do that. You can scan this. It'll take you to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. As I say, today we're talking about Liverpool and the world. Liverpool is an amazing brand. That's coming from somebody from Edinburgh. I'm from Scotland, and I've lived here because I studied here back in 1983, and I never left. And there is a thing about Liverpool. Giovanni, you must drink Liverpool water, and you must breathe in Liverpool air. Because when you do, you become addicted to the city, and you want to keep coming back again and again to see what a wonderful city that is so honest, so hardworking, so gritty, and so humorous. It keeps you grounded, and I love that. And sometimes when we get to Lord Mayor positions and chair positions, we sometimes forget where we come from. Well, you can rely on a Scouser bringing you back down to earth again, because that's what we need, to be grounded, and that's what this city does so wonderfully well. And you've got a photograph, I think, of me on the screen with some pandas. I visited Chengdu last year, and I actually got to feed the pandas. I got to be at the breeding station to see what they're doing to save the pandas, to save the forest. And actually, Chengdu and the work they're doing with the pandas have increased the numbers of pandas, the giant pandas, in China alone by a factor of about 10, in a factor of 10 years, and have grown the area of protection to 1 million square kilometers that didn't exist before. And they're protecting the trees, they're protecting the environment, protecting these wonderful creatures. And there's me with 5 pandas. I now have 10 pandas, not real ones, at home, because they keep giving me gifts of pandas because they're the cutest things ever, particularly when they're that size. They're a bit scary when they're that big, with the big claws, but actually they're so cute anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alderman Gary Millar, but to you it's Gary. Please keep in touch. Follow me on LinkedIn and on Instagram. and see what magic we can make happen internationally, because I'm here to help. Thank you so much.